I'm just going to make a few points. Our session was on the Internet Governance Forum in Nairobi, so we're reflecting back on that and projecting forward to the next one, which will take place 6th month, 7th month, 6th, which will take place in Baku in Azerbaijan at the same time next year. People were very positive about the IGF. I still it wasn't making it better, but it was really kind of lots of people, lots of stakeholders taking part in it. The kind of theme of the whole UK contingent, if you like, that were there, which is very large and very well represented, and that was well noted, was that we rather like the multi-stakeholder approach to continue, rather than what some countries would like, which is for governments to take much tighter regulatory control. You can see politically why people might want to do that in other countries who view perhaps the internet as more of a threat than an opportunity. It's not necessarily fair to categorise everybody in one side or other side of that dividing line, but in general terms, politics, if you like, of the whole process has that theme running right through. People were widely complimented the UK CHILDNET delegation. There was relatively low involvement of youth, as it were, in terms of the delegations from across the world. I think there's quite a number of countries present. I think about 40 countries present. But we had a big delegation thanks to CHILDNET, and that was widely noted. The people that did go from CHILDNET thought that there could be a lot more done to encourage young people to get involved more by discussing it more in advance, and also having more representation and more perhaps workshops which suited young people. He says, 51 years old today, me, I'm still quite young, but they're younger than me. And that was one well-noted point that I think everyone agreed that that's something we have to address next time out. And we also talked about the role of politicians not being simply to discuss the technology, important though that is, but also the human issues and social policies and everything, which is affected by the internet itself. So it's not just about the technology. In fact, you've got to be cautious it doesn't become every issue on the planet conference. The fact is that most policy issues are radically affected through the technology, the internet. The quality of the provision in Kenya, in Nairobi, was very high, but as was remarked, the digital divide there is still enormous. People talk about places like Rwanda having fibre optic cable and so forth, but in actual fact, there's very, very tiny access, certainly to the landline, into the internet. Most of access there, of course, is through mobile, and that raised a whole series of very interesting issues, because there's sort of leapfrogging the way we've accessed it for years, and pretty much all access in Africa is mobile, but it's still quite constrained. People can't charge their telephones and so forth because they don't always have the power. So it's very important to remember that digital divide. It was also remarked that we needed more awareness in the UK of the Internet Governance Forum. Not to say that the government hasn't been doing a pretty good job pumping the BBC and the media and so forth to explain it to them, and the BBC did turn up from Russell Click was out there and did some events which was sponsored by Nominate, which went extremely well. They were most of the best events, side events there. Just very quickly to conclude, looking forward to Baku, essentially there's a requirement there to kind of coordinate and plan and see what our message is going to be. As far as I can see, the politics of it is there's very much a consensus amongst both attendees and people who took part in the session that a multi-stakeholder approach clearly trumps what would be a rather stricter approach, tighter regulatory approach that some countries would like to apply. My instinct is, on that basis, that Azerbaijan, one hopes, fits the forum model, but I really don't know. I think Azerbaijan are not people who boil folk in baths. I think that's another group still. I think they stopped doing that now. So hopefully that progressive approach will apply when it comes to Baku. I think the Azerbaijanis themselves have done a really big kind of sales pitch. You've probably seen advertisements in the papers and so forth, putting events like the IGF right at the centre of their genuine efforts to present a much more modern place to the world. And the IGF therefore will be especially important for Baku and Azerbaijan, and clearly also for us.